Chinese government to come to the negotiating table. If there is no recognition to the polarities, there is no value to the middle way. To add value to the middle way, we are very, very committed. I want to reiterate that the Central Tibetan administration is very, very committed to the middle way policy of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. But to gain traction for the middle way, to gain value for the middle way, to gain leverage for the middle way, it's very important that we get recognition of the polarities. So this is where we have reached, and I'm really very, very thankful to the congressional leadership who are present here, and a vast majority of them who are back in the United States who support His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan cause. So thank you very much again for your presence here. We would love to hear each and every one of you, and this message of the US Congress should reach out to other governments, where I have also spoken with the State Department that once this becomes a law, then it's incumbent upon them to work with like-minded countries to make sure that similar resolutions or similar statements or similar laws are adopted in other nations. And we look forward to the leadership of the Congress also to take similar actions to convince other governments to adopt similar positions so that Chinese will come on the negotiating table. Our contention is that if and when the government keep repeating this statement that Tibet is part of PRC, we keep telling these governments that we are going against international law. Whether it's happening to Ukraine today, or whether it happened to Tibet more than 70 years ago, it is the same international law. We also tell governments that on the one hand, they keep repeating the statement that Tibet is part of PRC. On the other hand, they say we support negotiations between the representative of His Holiness Dalai Lama and the Chinese government. And I say you're contradicting yourself because you are removing the very ground for negotiation. When the whole international community keeps repeating this statement that at the behest of the Chinese government, that Tibet is part of PRC, then where is the reason for China to come and talk to us? And the third thing we tell the international community is, why do you think the Chinese government is asking every country to say that Tibet is part of PRC? Why not other regions or other nationalities within China? That is because the Chinese government knows that they have no legitimacy of their rule in Tibet. And they are trying to seek that legitimacy from the international community. Now this Tibet Resolve Act, through this bill, through this act, when it's signed into law by President Biden, it will reinforce US position on countering China's false narrative on Tibetan history. And this will be a first. And this will be a leverage for the middle way for China to come on the negotiating table. So now, I would request the Master of Ceremonies, we have arranged a cultural performance of children, which would be more emotional, I think, for the delegates here. And it will be a 5 minutes performance, each by 3 different schools. And after that, we will have the honoring of the delegates. And followed by that, we'll have speeches from every member of the delegate. So thank you very much. Samuel Gani,
Ari Sinji ki chimjar de la chenda khadu kyo baine ta sanina ni shine khadu kyo yo baine ji nimode mune khane nga so bwe chiso ko yo baine ga to che yo yo ki na dang ji cha yo le shin ji shwe to che
Thank you. Today
become a memorable moment for them, also to remember that they offered the Thangka to the delegate. Kazan Chibinam Rekozo Ningusla, and Tene Kasa Ningu Jabia, Vimitikzu, Tine Sigonam Re, Vimachil Hazota, and Bigi the Myoham, Tene Kondo, Bigi the Valia, Sweden Jishami, Padichili Kanen Chogi, and Sugi, Sunshin Ahoria, and Andre Manchachi. As a switch of and I get a mobile tone and answer Samuel on behalf of all the Tibetans inside and outside. I would like to invite Michael McCall to receive the Thangka from the Tibet.
Mr. President, and I want to thank the delegation. I also want to thank my wife, Linda. I was going to thank the school who worked. And it demonstrates why we have to keep the Tibetan alive. Bipartisan delegation from the United States Congress to meet the Dalai Lama. Many of you of Tibet, which 65 years ago, and thousands to the CCP to the Tibet people under control. Save his people and his culture. His Holiness led more than
It is great to be here with all of you. And I'm proud to be here today with my lovely wife, Simone. I want to thank the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Michael McCall, for leading this delegation. And it's especially an honor and a privilege to be here with someone that you all know, admire for her dedication, for her commitment to stand with you, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. And I would be remiss if I did not also recognize an individual who is known in the United States Congress as an individual who's focused on human rights here and everywhere around the world, and the sponsor of this bill, Jim McGovern. As well as with all of my colleagues who have joined because of their commitment to you. Some have asked me, why did I make this trip? And I can answer. But it is a pleasure to be here today and to have begun this day with an audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama this morning. It was powerful, it was moving, it was inspiring. He is incredible. We need him. The world needs him. This is the second time my wife Lisa and I have visited Dharamshala. The last time was in May 2017 with a congressional delegation led by Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. And I want to acknowledge her leadership on Tibet for all these years. She led a delegation back in 2015 to Tibet proper. And we went to Lhasa, and we met with the Tibetans there and learned firsthand about the Chinese government's repression. It was horrible, and we will never ever forget it. I also want to thank Chairman McCall for his leadership on this issue and so many others, and for his steadfast advocacy for human rights and his work to organize this important and timely delegation. I also want to thank Ranking Member Meeks for his fiery speech, but for all that he does on behalf of human rights, not only for Tibetans, but for people all over the world. And I'm proud to be part of this delegation. My friends, we are living in a time of turmoil. Everywhere we look, we are confronted with civil unrest, with violence and war.
I also am the senior Indian American member of Congress. Today when we met with His Holiness, he reminded me of the deep connection of the people of India with the people of Tibet. The spiritual connection of 1,000 years ago with Tibetan Buddhism. I'm reminded of that, and when I look around at this audience, I see my brothers and sisters, my spiritual brothers and sisters. We share ancestry spiritually. So know, brothers and sisters, that you have one of your own brothers in the United States Congress fighting for your rights, for your freedom, for your future. We're in this together. And as His Holiness said, we will win because it is about compassion, it is about the heart, it is about the oneness that we all share together. So know again, your brother is on the floor of the United States Congress fighting for your freedom.
My name is Maliatakis. I am very proud to bring greetings from my district of Staten Island and Brooklyn in New York City. It is home to the Jacques Marquet Tibetan Museum, which His Holiness visited in 1995, and many of the members that you have representing you in government have also visited it. But when His Holiness came in 1995, he said the words that it was the closest to Tibet that you could find in the West. And I'm very proud to represent that beautiful cultural gem. When we were honored with the meeting earlier today with His Holiness, I shared with him that when he fled Tibet in 1959, my mother also fled to escape communism in 1959, but in her homeland of Cuba. And so we share many similarities, and I have a lot of compassion and empathy for the people who are here today, who want to return to their homelands, who want to visit and have their children and grandchildren who have never visited Tibet the opportunity to do so. And we are all working together with you to see that day come. We believe that everyone in the world, including the 7 million people in Tibet right now, deserve to live where they have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as we so proudly say in the United States of America. Thank you all for having us with you today, and long live a free Tibet! Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Again and again, a very warm welcome. Everyone I've spoken has said what an honor it is for us to be on this visit, to have the privilege of meeting with His Holiness the Dalai Lama earlier today. Yes, it is an honor, but for us it is truly a blessing. It is a blessing to see all of you, to say thank you to you. It said earlier that you're saying thank you to us, but we're saying thank you to you. Because you heard our colleagues talk about this legislation that was passed last week. We have been fighting this fight, all of us, for a long time. And in the spirituality of His Holiness, with maneuvering inside the Congress, we've made progress. But it's different now with the passage of this bill, because this bill is a message to the Chinese government that we have clarity in our thinking and our understanding of this issue of the freedom of Tibet. And Mr. Meeks, who's the leader of our delegation and the leader of the Foreign Affairs Committee, was so masterful in not only the policy, but in the process of getting it passed in the most bipartisan way. Mr. Meeks, the ranking Democrat on the committee, was relentless in his persistence in getting the bill passed with the right policy, again, with the biggest vote. And the author of the bill, Jim McGovern, well, he's just been there for us. I call him the patron saint of our Tibet policy in the Congress of the United States. Mr. McGovern mentioned our visit to Tibet a number of years ago. And when we went there, we saw for ourselves. They have spoken to you officially and all that. I want to talk to you personally for a moment. There was a visit of the former president of China to Washington, D.C. And Dianne Feinstein and I said to him, we are objecting to what you are doing to the culture of Tibet. You're trying to erase it. He said, you know what you're talking about. You should go there. See for yourself all the improvements that China is making in Tibet. I said, thank you, because I've been trying for 25 years to get a visa to go to Tibet when you would never give me one, and now I assume that is one. So we went, Mr. McGovern, his wife Lisa, and other members, a strong delegation. We went to the palace, the Papal Palace. We saw the room where His Holiness grew up, his bedroom, and that to see how it is there for him to return to. We mentioned his name all over Lhasa, and I can tell you this, they are trying to erase the culture with reduce the use of the language. Hans coming into the population there, they are trying something that we cannot let them get away with. Now, in the spirit of His Holiness, I'll be gracious to the Chinese people. I don't know that they're up to this, but we do know that the Chinese government is, and we do know that they must get the message. And this legislation sends the message, the House and the Senate, and soon to be signed by Joe Biden, the President of the United States. Everybody has talked about the children, and that's really what our mission is, to see these beautiful children perform the arts of the Tibetan arts. It's really our purpose is to make the future better for them. When we see in Tibet that they're trying to again send them to school, educate them in the Chinese way, to reduce their knowledge of the Tibetan language, to have surveillance of everything that they do and that their families do in a way that is not
Gracias.